There's a lot of discussion on our next quarterback, how many millions he was going to earn with a contract extension. That is all done now. He is the quarterback for the present and future of this team. I don't want to give it away. Number 9 in your top 40.
You almost going to read his name.
Might as well.
There he is, my guy right there. Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott, Dallas Cowboys quarterback, still a phenomenal football player. Again, I think the one thing that comes to my mind when I talk about Dak Prescott or watch him is just the toughness. I just think about physical, mental toughness. Like, to me, Dak Prescott is towards the top of football in those departments, let alone we know, yes, he's got a lot of ability. I mean, he does. First off, his mobility and his ability to run is a real thing. It's a real part of his game. It wasn't as big last year, I think, because of some of the injuries. But whether it's scrambling or a few quarterback design runs, like wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. He's a son of a bitch to deal with, okay? So that's an issue there, all right? Then you talk about, the pocket part of him. This is, to me, where he is very special. Dak Prescott is up there in the discussion as far as being the best, like, I'm under pressure, the pocket's collapsing quarterbacks in all of football. He's unaffected by it. He can stand there with people hitting him and grabbing him and still make throws down the field because he's such a big, strong human being. It doesn't affect his decision-making when the pocket's closing in. He's not like, oh, gosh, let me find the short throw just to get it out of my hand. He still stands in there and, gets oh, wait, he's not going to kill me yet. He's going to kill me in a half a second. Hold on, let me throw it. Oh, I got killed. Hey, but I got a completion to CeeDee Lamb. That, to me, is where he is special. He did not have his best year. There's no doubt about that. It was not. But still, franchise quarterback, difference maker, beautiful deep ball thrower, right? But I will say, did not have his best year throwing.
Right.
I think that's one thing I look at. The ball got away from him a lot, especially down the stretch of the season. A lot of balls thrown high and off the target that way. Has a very over-the-top motion. He does not throw many balls off different arm angles or sidearm or that. That really doesn't exist in his game. So that's not one of his pluses. But, that to me was one thing that I came back from the year to go, well, it wasn't maybe his best year as far as decision-making, but it wasn't bad. I think where he left, a lot of plays and throws on the field a little bit, it was just purely from his throwing. His arm strength is good, but out of these quarterbacks that are in the top 10, it's towards the bottom. In fact, out of the quarterbacks we talked today, I think it's the bottom. I would say Derek Carr's arm is stronger than Dak Prescott's. So for an NFL star quarterback, he's got the least power arm out of the group, in my opinion. But, man, he does a lot of good things on the football field, that's for sure.
The big question last year coming into the year was his ankle injury. Yep. How would it respond? How would he play? It held up pretty well. He did have a calf injury, though. And so I think, Pete, we have some numbers before and after the calf injury. And so before they were 5-1, he was averaging 300 yards per game. Afterwards, 263. So you do wonder. I wonder how much that affected him.
I know. I do too. Again, early in the year, I think they kind of feasted on some teams that were finding their way, to a degree. All right. But the injury, it definitely, we were talking about Deshaun Watson early. Yeah, he missed the game, and I think he couldn't practice for 2 weeks. And he came back, and he never really found his mojo again. Yeah. He did not. And
it was obvious too. Even Cowboy fans were like, "Oh, what's wrong with that?"
No, it wasn't. Again, you go to the Broncos game and on. And I know there's some good statistical games there down the stretch, but again, what I would go is he feasted on the poor in some of those good statistical games. Yeah, all right, they had the great day against the Raiders, sure. The Falcons, they completely overmatched them. People were wide open. You could have put almost any quarterback in the league in there, and they would have had good stats that day. They blew up the Washington football team when they were having fights on the sideline and being totally dysfunctional and playing like shit. And then he had huge stats in a meaningless game at the end of the year against the Eagles. You just take away the Washington Eagles game at the end of the year, and you go, you're missing 10 touchdowns and like 1,000 yards against teams that just the game didn't matter. So the stats are a little misleading that way. But to your point, when he came back from the injury, that is the thing I think we saw is missed throws, a lot of misplays and throws on the field, and even to the extent like we talked about where you'd go, yeah, this was complete, but it should have been way bigger than this. But because it was off target, the guy had to slide to the ground or catch it and all of that. And, hey, don't forget here, as good as the year was statistically in that too, think about down the stretch. The offense and defense was having a competition about who scored more touchdowns, and the defense was winning for like a number of weeks. They were not that great on the offensive side of the ball, and he was not throwing the ball all that great himself. They just got a little lucky to play some lesser teams down the stretch that, helped them get in the playoffs and maybe make their offense look a little better than it was.
Yeah, 9 of the Cowboys' 12 wins came against non-playoff teams last year. And if it wasn't for the defense, which was awful in 2020,
yeah,
I mean, who knows? Maybe they're not a playoff team. Maybe they don't win the
Help
division.
them down the stretch, that's for sure.
So here's the question. The NFC East is so weird every year just because it hasn't been good, and teams that have gotten good haven't stayed that way.
Right.
The question that Pete posts here, can Dallas be the first NFC East team since 2004 to repeat as division champs? That's amazing that they haven't had a repeat division champ winner since then.
It's insane. I would say no. That would be my, 2 cents there.
Start with Tampa on NBC. Bengals at Giants, Monday Night Football, and then Washington Commanders, and then at Rams.
I know. So, hey, first 2 going to be tough. Giants aren't going to be the same football team. I will be there that night at Giants Monday Night Football week 3.
You're going to be there?
I'm going. I've never taken my kids to a Giants game. We're going.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes. So
that's going to be awesome.
I'm pumped for that right
Where
there.
are you going to sit?
I don't know yet. I haven't got the tickets yet.
A suite,
I know
probably,
a guy that has connections with the Giants.
Yeah.
I should be able to pull it off.
Yeah.
Yes.
Would you want to be in a suite, or do you want to be somewhere
never,
in seats?
Never. I want to be in the thick of things and yelling, and Pete's going to be there too.
Yeah.
But yes, I want to be in. I was never a suite guy. I want to be in the crowd and feeling the energy of the stadium.
A suite, you feel cool. I've been in it a couple of times.
Yeah, it's cool. It is
just
cool.
for a work thing. You go there while you're covering a game. You get caught in conversations in a suite. You can't lock into the game.
Exactly. Right. Stadium in the middle of the stadium. Yeah, you might have a guy every now and then. And it's like, hey, Simms, what do you think about that play? And I go, that's a stupid call.
Yeah.
Whatever. But, yeah, for the most part, you're right. You're not going to get in real serious conversations. You get to feel the energy of the stadium.
Yep.
That's what I want. And, that'll be a good one. Giants, Cowboys, be pretty damn good.
That's interesting. So if you're on the clock, and I've thought of this a couple different ways, too, with your quarterback ranking. We talk about this quarterback is on an average team. I also think about it. This is the way the USFL did it this year, is that their first round was just all quarterbacks. It was just you have to pick a quarterback here.
Right.
So if you really were building a team from scratch in round number 1, the rule was you had to pick a quarterback. What order would these guys go in? And that's basically what you're doing.
What we're doing here. Exactly right. You're right.
And it's interesting to me with the year that Dak had last year, a little concerning at the end of it.
Yeah.
That if he's sitting there and Lamar's sitting there and you're on the clock, you see all those things Lamar can do. You're pulling the trigger for Dak.
I know. It is. It's a tough one there. It's like nitpicky. Even the guy I got in front of Dak, that was a tough decision too. But I came down to one thing a little bit there with, even though Lamar's playmaking ability is great, again, I do think, Dak, yes, the injuries played a little bit into his downfall too. But still, Dak makes, when you watch him, a ton of plays in the pocket. I mean, it's a lot of big throws, like I said, where, again, we might not go, oh, wow, but I might go, damn, most quarterbacks here just wouldn't have hung in there and made that play or that throw. That's where he does separate himself. His toughness and pure man strength and that ability to push the ball down the field in some of those situations. And, again, even though he missed a lot of throws and things and left some yards on the field, for the most part takes care of the ball to a degree too. He's not very careless. So even when he makes bad decisions, you go, that was a bad decision. But he'll he'll put the ball in a spot where it's okay, it didn't get intercepted, even though that wasn't the best decision. There was another guy open. Right? He does that. That's where he's good in that department. But yes, the throwing needs to improve a little bit. And, again, I think the health and some of the off-schedule plays that weren't as much this year, I would expect that to be better coming back, just a little healthier than the last 2 years.
And then I'm sitting on the clock at number 10, and I take Lamar, and I tell the media, I can't believe he was still there.
I know.
Can't believe he was on the board
So
at
that's
10.
the one you think that's going to get the
No,
most
I don't know.
play
I don't
there.
know. I don't know. It's just they do different things, right?
Yes.
And I think that's all these quarterbacks have things they do really well, and all these quarterbacks have things that they do that might worry you.
Right.
And so that's just, you got to make a decision, and I don't think you're alone in thinking that Dak Prescott is that guy,
again,
more consistent guy.
They're all in the same offense. I know we got a few Lamar plays, but the team's not orchestrated just around Lamar and his running game.
Yeah.
So that's how we're trying to judge this. Again, so it's a little bit of like, yes, it's an offense that's got a little of everything, but we're not all in on one thing for one guy.
Right.
With a Shanahan or a McVay calling the plays here. And that's where, that's where we're at. And again, yes, I think within that, formula we're talking about there.
Yep.
And if you got to plug in Dak or Lamar and that kind of offense, then yes, I'm going to take Dak there.
You'd be a little worried with Lamar, maybe that if you don't have all the other pieces around him, maybe it's not going to work.
Exactly right.
So,
I don't know what exactly might happen
Even
there.
though Dak has had some pretty good pieces around him.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.